All right. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are, and welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name's Nick. I'm a change manager here at Agosto, and I'll be leading us through this 30-minute Get in the G Suite Groove, training. Thanks for joining. We're going to move a little bit slow here because we have lighter numbers than we were looking for from registrations, but we'll start cooking in a little bit here. Before we actually kick things off, before we even get into an agenda, the first thing we like to talk about whenever we're running a training like this is how can you ask us questions? So a little bit of housekeeping. If you have questions over the next 30 minutes or so, use chat. It should be right in front of you, somewhere in your Zoom window. Type your question in, and I'll do my best to monitor that and either answer questions while we're in training or potentially save a few minutes at the end for your questions. So if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to ask those questions using chat. With that in mind, let's take a look at our agenda. I see a lot more folks have joined. Welcome, everyone. And so rather than a traditional agenda, what we want to talk about are some goals. This is a rapidly changing situation. 2 weeks ago, many of us, if not all of us, were working in an office and maybe working from home on rare occasions. Now, almost everyone is working from home. So with that in mind, we wanted to just give you some tips and hints and tools for how you and your teammates can start to feel more at work while working from home. So what does that look like? What are some applications that we leverage at Agosto that you could start leveraging as well? I think the big thing on this slide here is on the right side there. 69% of global workers say they do their best work when they're collaborating with others. That's a lot of people who think collaboration gives them their best work. So how can we, even when we're not sitting in a room with folks or sitting near folks in an office, still collaborate effectively? Now, you're wondering, where did Nick get those stats? I'm going to share that in the chat here. It's Google's Make It Work report. Don't read it right now, but grab that link. You can read that later on. So what are we going to talk about specifically? We're going to talk about two applications that we love, Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meet. We're going to walk you through how to use them. We're going to give you some real world examples of them. And then we'll talk a little bit about mobile towards the end of our session. And again, we'll save some time for questions as well. So we don't have a ton of time together, so I just want to dive right into Hangouts Chat. If you've never used Hangouts Chat before, you're wondering what is Hangouts Chat? Pretty simple. It's Google's messaging platform built for Teams. We use it every day. We love it. I really love it. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking, is that the same messaging platform that I use in my Gmail? The best way I can describe it is it's sort of a distant cousin of that. So I'm going to go to my other window here briefly. What I'm talking about here is Hangouts Classic that lives in Gmail. Hangouts Chat that looks like this is a newer version perhaps and has some features that we'll talk about today that can facilitate better collaboration. Now, before I even get into that, I'm going to share another link for you. You're going to see that come through here. It's just a quick spot for access. So whether you access it on your computer at chat.google.com, which is where I am right now, or you access it on your Android or iOS device, you can certainly get the full experience of it. So before I even get into a demo of it, I know you're reading those hilarious chats from Josh on my screen. Before we even get into a demo, let's talk about a couple real world examples that we use today. First, every day our team logs in to chat, and in a team status chat room that we've created, we put in our status for the day. What are we working on, or are we going to be offline on specific times, especially when we're all working from home, to just give that context of, hey, I got to make lunch for my kids. I'm going to be offline from 12 to 1. I'll be back online after that. So everyone knows you might be slow to respond or not respond in certain periods. It's incredibly valuable. If you look at my screen here, we have our team status down here. It's going to look like a lot of Nicks have responded to this one. This one's obviously our demonstration one. Our real one has other people, but Josh got in there today to let us know he's working from home. So that's incredibly valuable. That just gives us context of where our teammates are throughout the day. And if something last minute comes up, like, hey, I got to run to the grocery store to get hopefully nothing, because the grocery store is very crowded right now. But if you need to get something, you can pop it into chat and let your teammates know you're going to be offline. So we use team status every morning to let folks know where we're going to be. The other room that we create is all about that second piece, that kind of that personal collaboration piece that you're missing when you're not in the office anymore. We just created a general room. The same idea though, put anything in here within your team that you want folks to know. So maybe not status related, but you can see here there's a kudos here, or the other day on our team, we put all of our cell phone numbers in there. So just in case we need to text someone as well as chat someone, we have it in there. So we use this general for the stuff that's not the status, but still valuable and part of that collaboration. You don't need to wonder where to send it. You don't need to wonder, where do I go to let my entire team know what's going on with me today? That's status. Where do I go to let my entire team know what my cell phone number is in case they need to get a hold of me? That's CS General. It just makes things way easier on you and your teammates as you're moving into this new world where everyone's working from home. As you can see, I turned my camera on so you could see that I'm working from home as well. For those of you who know me, you know I'm surrounded by plants right now because I love them. So those are two just quick ways that you could start leveraging chat. Now, beyond that, you can have direct messages with anyone. So if I want to start another message with Josh, I can do that right here. If I need to search for someone, find someone who I haven't sent a message to in a while, great. Click on the search bar, and I did that pretty quick, so maybe I'll slow down and do that again. Search bar is right here in the upper left-hand corner, and then you can type their name in. So there's Stanley, I could send Stanley a message. It's really easy to quickly start using. Most of you are comfortable with some messaging platform. This one's super easy to use. Let's talk about a couple other very valuable pieces of it. Now, I told you how much I appreciate the status room, for instance. Well, what you can do is any room or individual, if you click on the three dot next to their name, you can star them. And now, instead of them getting lost in the shuffle of the many other direct messages you have or rooms you're in, they live right up top all the time, so you can quickly access those rooms or individuals. Now, on the reverse side of that, maybe there's folks who message you a lot that you don't necessarily need to receive as many notifications from. Great. Let's say this Nicholas executive guy kind of gets on my nerves. Great. I can click that three dot here and turn off notifications. Or maybe a better use case would be maybe the general room, our team general chat, gets pretty busy with chats throughout the day. I try to focus on work and then do chats maybe later. I can turn off notifications, just mute them, and I can even turn them on later if I need to. So that gives you that flexibility to say, I'm going to prioritize people or rooms, and I'm going to maybe not prioritize other rooms within chat. Now you're wondering, how do I set up notifications? Well, when you first get into chat, like all of your other Google tools, you're going to look for that little gear. It's in the upper right-hand corner here. Click on that. That's your settings gear. Click on settings, and you can set up notifications right here. Now, you can see here we're on web and desktop. Great. I can set up push notifications right here. I can even set them up for my mobile though. So maybe I have taken that extra step, downloaded that iOS. I'm an iPhone user, but if you're an Android user, download that Android app and you're set up to get notifications there as well. So Hangouts chat is awesome. A couple other things before we pop into our second topic. We're right on time. I'm going to click the X here. Setting up a new room. And again, I love rooms. I think they're very valuable. Setting up a new room is not intuitive, so I'll let you know. You click on the search bar, and then you click Create Room. It's going to ask you to name it whatever you'd like, and then you can add folks in. You can add them by groups or individuals. One other thing to note is chat does have the ability to add bots. And I love bots for a lot of different things. We set up meetings using bots. We use them for quick gifts to celebrate folks. So if I go back into CS General here, I added the Giphy bot into the CS General. Anytime there's a kudos, I can just say @Giphy. You have to spell it right, which is the biggest key for me. Great job. And the bot will do the work for me. Now that one's pretty fun, but there's a Meet bot to set up meetings between colleagues. So you don't have to check their schedules. The bot will do it for you. So explore bots, explore chat, and let us know in chat if you have any questions about using Hangouts chat starting today. Now, the other great tool that we love and we leverage a lot is Hangouts Meet. I'm gonna get off of this screen here just because that GIF might distract all of us for the rest of the afternoon otherwise. And Hangouts Meet is our video conferencing solution built into Hangouts. Now, before we even get into it, you're saying to yourself, wait a second, Nick, we're in Zoom right now. You're telling me to use Hangouts Meet. We love Hangouts Meet at Agosto. We use it every day for a variety of meetings, whether it's a one-on-one or a team meeting or even an organization meeting, we use Hangouts Meet. We use Zoom for formal trainings like this just because Zoom gives us the ability to leverage a few extra features like maybe managing registrations, you all had to register for this, and managing attendance as well. So we can reach back out to you later on to say, hey, do you want more information from us? So Zoom gives us those abilities, but I love Hangouts Meet. I think you'll love Hangouts Meet. If you're using Hangouts Meet today, great. Keep using it. We're going to give you some tips and use cases for how to best leverage it. If you've never used Hangouts Meet before, again, it's Google's video conferencing solution. I know I'm on my calendar screen here, which is confusing. I just wanted to get off that GIF. But let's talk about a couple real world examples, then I'll show you actually using it. So the first one that we use every day with Hangouts Meet is a quick team stand-up meeting. It's 15 minutes maximum that we spend together on our team. Our team is 8 people total. So we just get on the line and we say, what are we working on today? What are we stuck on? Do we need support on anything? And at the end, if we have time, which we always do, because we save time for it, we do a quick joke where our teammate has a hamburger book joke or a hamburger joke book, and we go through a quick joke. All of this is to build that collaboration and camaraderie when you're not in the same office. We actually do this even before we were all working from home because we do have a few remote folks. And we feel like it builds that team bond every day. And it gives you the ability to get support from your teammates if you need help on something. Another idea that I love is a water cooler. Our sister company, SkyKit, runs this throughout the day where you can join at any point. So, hey, I just need to see someone from my team and talk to them for 2 minutes. Check out the water cooler. It's an open meeting. There's no pressure to join, but you certainly can join and chat with your colleagues throughout the day. Both of these, again, build that collaboration even when you're not in the same room as those folks. Now, with all that in mind, let's talk a little bit about how to start using Hangouts Meet. Before I do that, I'm going to share the link out that you're all getting used to seeing. This one's all about Meet. So you can go to meet.google.com. There are Android and iOS apps as well, or from your calendar, you can start using it as well. So I'm in my calendar right now. And let's say I wanted to just quickly create a meeting leveraging Meet. Perfect. I'll go to tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'll create that meeting. And it's as simple as clicking Add Conferencing Hangouts Meet. And now it's been added. I can add my guests, I can add my title, verify that the time is right, and send this off. And later, when I need to join that meeting, using Hangouts Meet from my house, from my home office, surrounded by plants, click on any of those meetings within your calendar, and you click right here, Join Hangouts Meet. It is literally that easy. It's built right into your calendar, whether you're going to meet.google.com or on your calendar here. It's super easy. Now, most of you, if not all of you, have probably done that before. So you're thinking to yourself, he's not adding much. Let's click into it here and talk about some of the tips and hints that we think really take Meet to the next level. So my first tip for you, yep, you're seeing 2 screens of me now. I know that's confusing. My first tip for you, maybe I'll turn off my second one just for this. My first tip for you is before you get in, this is the waiting room. And the most valuable thing you can do here is click down here on the 3 dots, click on settings, And you can verify your microphone and speaker before you even get into that meeting. I can't tell you how many times that has saved me from getting into the meeting and then trying to talk and no one's heard me. Check it right here. You can even test it. You can see right there. A couple other things you can do right from this waiting room. You can make sure there's nothing in your teeth, right? Looks good. Check your hair. Make sure your plants are in the right spot. You can also see who else is in the meeting already. Great, the client's already in the meeting, or shoot, my boss is already in the meeting. Let's get in right now. Before you join, if it's a larger group, it's not a bad idea to mute yourself. I think Meet will automatically mute you, but if not, click that mute button right there. I am going to recommend that you leave your screen on. It seems intimidating, but a lot of communication happens face-to-face. And since we're all working from our home offices, we've lost some of that face-to-face communication that we love. Keeping your screen on, your video on makes sense. This waiting room just gives you that opportunity to check your background, make sure everything's clear. I have two young girls who are constantly running around behind me. So sometimes I just tell them, hey, let's sit over there and put on Frozen 2 so they're not running behind me, distracting my colleagues or anyone, my clients, whoever I'm getting on the phone with. All that to say, once you click this Join Now button, you'll be in that meeting. You can see my buddy Nick, assistant, did not share his screen, or is not sharing his video. That's okay, we'll talk to him later about that. A couple other tips for you when you're in the meeting itself. If you have someone else who needs to join, it's really easy to share the information with them in the lower left-hand corner here. This is the name of the meeting, click on this. This is the joining info. I can click copy joining info and I can send this to anyone. Send it in a Hangouts chat, send it in an email, get it to the proper people. Once you're already in the meeting, there's a couple other great tips for you. You all now have the ability, if you click on the menu in the lower right-hand corner here, to record these meetings. Do you have a team member who's not able to come live to this meeting? Record it for them. The organizer of that meeting gets the drive file. They can share out the recording with them. And then one other thing that I've found valuable recently, working from home, again, with Frozen 2 on in the background, are captions. So captions, I'm going to turn them on. They're incredible. Captions allow you to maybe see what you've already missed because, you know, Elsa was singing too loud in the background. You can see how good these captions are. As I'm talking, it is capturing everything I'm saying. So I love captions for those moments when you do have a lot of background noise and you need to not miss what people are saying. So Hangouts Meet is awesome. Now, the last tip I have for you is probably my favorite tip for you. And that's, I'm going to turn off captions for a second. And that's you can combine the best of both worlds, meet and chat, in your direct messages with folks or in a group message with folks. So I'm going to go back to chat. I'm going to leave this meeting. It's as simple as clicking that red phone there. I'm going to go back to chat. Let's say I am chatting with someone and it's Josh again, for instance, and we're going back and forth and he's not exactly understanding what I'm saying. I could spend another 15 minutes sending him more instant messages like, hey, are you getting it? Or I could just get on a Hangouts Meet with him. But I don't want to go to my calendar to create that Hangouts Meet. Well, in Hangouts Chat, all you got to do is click right here. And you can create a video meeting that he could join and you can join right from there. So I'll just say, spelling is always hard. Click enter, send this to him. He'll get this. I can click right here, join this meeting. And then boom, we could be on that Hangouts Meet rather than going back and forth for another 15 minutes on chat. And you know, sometimes messages don't work as well. So that's my favorite tip for you from Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meet. It's the best of both worlds. And it's saved me so many times, even over the last couple of weeks of having so many back and forths within Hangouts Chat. So those are the two tools we wanted to talk about. Before we let you go, let's hop back into this slide deck here, or before we start answering some questions, hopefully. Let's talk about getting mobile. There are a ton of mobile applications out there that are available for you for all of these tools, whether you're on Android or iOS. Now we have 4 here that we really recommend you get as soon as possible. Gmail and calendar makes sense, right? So throughout the day, I'm not at my desk as often because my desk is now my work from home desk that I'm sharing with my wife. So my calendar lives with me on my cell phone. And so I get alerts on my cell phone letting me know my next meeting or the next thing I need to work on. Same with Gmail. If I'm not sitting at my desk as long throughout the day, I can quickly reference my email from my phone. Maybe I'm trying to do a puzzle with my 2-year-old and she doesn't understand that I need to go back to my desk. Well, great, I can just check my email right from my phone right there. Hangouts Chat's another one, right? So it works great on your desktop. We saw that here. The experience will be the same on your phone. So whether you just need to quickly get back to someone about a document that you've shared with them, or you need to quickly get into a meeting with them in 10 minutes, Hangouts Chat can work right from your phone as well. And the last one here is one that maybe a lot of folks don't have experience with. It's Google Keep. It's available on your desktop. So if you just go to keep.google.com, I can show you what that looks like here. Looks like this. It's a spot to take notes. It's as simple as that. It also lives within all of your G Suite tools. So if you're in your Gmail, on the right side, you probably have seen this little light bulb. That's Google Keep. It works great on desktop, but on your mobile device, it takes it to the next level. So if you just need to take a quick note about something when you're not sitting at your work from home desks, boom, take it when you're doing the puzzle with your 2-year-old, and then as soon as you've taken it, it's on your desktop as well. So when you get back to your desk and you go to Gmail, for instance, you can see it's right there. I got to do a test for PJ, for instance. I'm probably way late on that right from here. So Hangouts, Chat, and Google Keep are 2 maybe that you didn't have before that I'd highly recommend you check out now. And all of this to say, we have a ton of tips, and I'm sure you've heard a ton of tips for how best to work from home, but a couple other tips we have for you beyond G Suite is, the first one is stay mobile. Don't feel like you need to sit for 8 hours a day. You don't do that at your desk at work, so don't do that at your desk at home. Speaking of desks, it's probably a good practice to set up a dedicated workspace. You've heard already, I have to share one with my wife. We actually have 2. We just swap between the 2 throughout the day. Setting up that dedicated workspace allows you to focus on your work when you're at your desk, but then leave work, as it were, when you're not sitting at that work from home space. And the last one is make it your own space. I've already said it. I got a ton of plants. I'm surrounded by plants. This is a tough time for everyone. You should try to make your work from home space as comfortable as possible for you. Now, I see a couple questions coming in. I'll encourage you, if you have other questions around any of those G Suite tools or any G Suite questions, throw them into chat, throw them into Q&A right now. Before I let you all go and before I start asking questions, I'm going to launch a quick poll here. And this is simply a poll around, what topics would you like to learn more about in future webinars? We want to do more of these webinars. We want to give you the support you need in this tough time. So what topics would you be interested in? I'm going to launch the poll. You're going to see it pop up in front of you. It takes 2 seconds to answer. I'll be silent for 10. Awesome. See, a ton of you have answered. I'll give you another 10 seconds just because I want to make sure as many of you get a chance to answer. Okay, awesome. So a lot of you have answered. Thank you very much. We take that feedback and we're going to use it to make some more webinars for you in the future here. Okay, so I'm going to end that poll now. I'm going to dive into some of these questions that we had. The first one is, please talk about the best way to use the audio. We always have terrible reverb with audio. That's a great point. So as you probably already saw let's go back to this one. As you probably already saw, I'm wearing a headset. This is a fairly cheap headset I got on Amazon. I will tell you right now, a lot of these headsets are in short supply, but it's not an expensive investment to get a headset that's just a USB headset that's corded. You can see here. That will prevent any reverb. Reverb often happens because your speaker is then playing back into your microphone and then creating that feedback loop. So I'd recommend just get a cheap headset like this over the ears with a dedicated microphone. It'll make the world of difference for you going forward. That's a great question though. And then the other thing you can do, as we talked about, is I'm in this waiting room right now. Click the menu here, click settings, and I can test this, right? So I can test my microphone. I could change it to the Logitech, right? Test the microphone and speaker before I actually get in to make sure there's not going to be that reverb coming through. Great question. How do you mute your guests? Yeah, good question. I'm going to go back to my other CS water cooler here because I know I have a guest in this one. You can see Nick Assistance in it. Once you're in a meeting like this, you're going to see if there's lots of folks on the right side here, you're going to see a list of folks down here. You can click on the mute on any of them to mute them. Now, I can see that Nick's already muted here. Every time I move my mouse, it covers it up. But in the lower left-hand corner, I can see that he's muted, so I can't mute him. But anyone who's not muted, you can just click the little microphone next to their name or their picture within Hangouts Meet, and you can mute them. Even if they're a dial-in person, you can mute them. This is a theme, but I like it. The next question is, can the presenter mute all other participants in Hangouts Meet while you're presenting and then unmute them later to let them start talking to you and others? You can't mute them all with one click, but you can certainly go through and mute them one by one, and then they can unmute themselves at any point. So there's not a way to do it in one fell swoop where you mute and unmute, unfortunately, but you do have that ability to do it one by one. I realize if you have 200 people in a Hangouts Meet, that's kind of a pain. What I'd recommend, it's not the best solution maybe, is have someone else help you with the muting, or the best solution oftentimes is just tell folks, hey, I need you to mute before we start the meeting, instead of letting them continue to have background noise. And this is a great point because we've had 3 questions on it as a best practice. When you join a meeting, if you're not talking, mute yourself, right? Even if you have one of these fancy $20 headsets, mute yourself because you still could be creating background noise. Good questions. Why chat instead of Hangouts? Yeah, great question. So Hangouts is the one that lives in Gmail here. Chat gives you a little bit more, I guess, not flexibility, but just a few more features. So a few things we saw that I can send Hangouts Meet links right through here with one click. I can also grab files from Drive and share them right through here. You also have the ability to edit chats that you've already sent. So like when I wrote, hey, are you getting it? I can go back in there and rephrase that to say, or maybe just add something, hey, are you getting it now? So you have the ability to edit something you've already sent. And then the real power comes in the rooms, right? So these rooms are always here. You can start new topics within them. And it's not that kind of just that running list of messages that could be 10,000 messages that 2 years ago started. It's specific topics within a room. So it's just a different way of thinking about messaging with some more advanced features. That's a good question. The last thing to know about Hangouts Classic is it is slated to go away at some point, and they will integrate Hangouts Chat back into Gmail. So you'll always have instant messaging in Gmail. It just might not be the classic Hangouts that you're used to. Where do I get a recording to watch again or share with a colleague? We'll follow up with you. That's a great question. We are recording it, as you can see, and we'll follow up with where to view this recording. Another question about recording, great question. I have a great question coming in, and I don't have an answer on this one. It says, when recording a meeting with captions on, does it record that part as well? I will have to get back to you on that. I don't have an answer for if it records the captions within a Hangouts Meet. So great question. I have it noted here, and I'll make sure I follow up with you. Is there a cost for Hangouts Chat? It's actually, there's no cost for Hangouts Chat beyond the cost of a G Suite license. So built into G Suite licenses, you have the ability to turn on chat. If you're an admin, you might want to look into your admin panel and turn it on. If you're not a G Suite admin, I'd reach out to your IT group and have your G Suite admins look into turning it on. I unfortunately can't tell them to turn it on, but I'd recommend it. In circumstances like this can be a great way to stay connected and collaborate with your colleagues. Great question. Can you use chats and Hangout with your personal login and work login on mobile devices? It's a good question. So Hangouts Chat is business only, so it's tied to your G Suite account. So you wouldn't get access, I'm fumbling on my words here, you wouldn't get access to Hangouts Chat from a Gmail account. You still have access to Hangouts from a Gmail account, certainly. So if you're talking about classic Hangouts and using that, you absolutely can. Just like everything else, Google does a great job on mobile devices. I've said earlier my experiences with Apple, but I'm sure it's just as good with Android, where the accounts are separate, but it's still one application, and you can always switch between those accounts really quickly. So once you're logged into your Gmail and potentially your work account, and you're using classic Hangouts on your phone, you can swap between those accounts really easily. The messages you wouldn't be able to send Gmail, you wouldn't be able to send messages from your Gmail account into your work account. Good question. In Google Meet, can I give control of my computer to another user? Great question. You can't. You can share your screen though, which is something we use a lot. So I'm back in this Meet here. If I click present now, I'm able to share my screen. If I click a window here, you guys will see all of my notes and stuff. I could just do this here. This will create a tunnel, so I won't do that. But you can share a screen, but you can't ask to control or give control to someone else. That's a good question. All right, everyone. Those are great questions. As we said, we are recording it. I'm going to end the recording right now.